One moment. All right, Windows. All right. Audio looks good. Got to go live on Twitch. Hello, KWNGLL. Hang on, let me mute the boys. How are you? Just Galileo. Hey, Galileo. You're good, you. I'm quite tired, but I'm otherwise okay. I just got back from the gym, and I'm quite... I've not been going as much as I should, I guess, recently, so... It's made me extra sleepy. A little mild headache, nothing too bad. It's been a busy week. Long day, huh? Yeah. What am I trying to make? Yeah. I thought today I'd add some like on-hit sprite to the enemy, because right now when they get hit it doesn't have like a particularly special piece of artwork. So I'm just very quickly adding this now. You basically just joined at the start. This is the game, by the way, if you haven't seen it. You know, you shoot stuff and blow up walls and stuff. But you see right now when you hit an enemy, it just sort of like goes transparent for like a second. I thought it would be more interesting if the enemy like has like a special little animation for it. So that's all. Probably could have a better way of doing all these frame counts and frame rates. Whatever. Yeah, an old kind of game. Let's see, frame rate 1, frame count 1. Something like this. Let's see. See if F2 works today. It does. Nice. Quite easy to extend this animation system. Literally like a 5-minute job. Nice. I don't know why this is a float necessarily. You want to know how to read a program but you can't find vids. I'm sure you could find a book at your local library. If you want to learn how to program, you could enroll in a computer science course. It's free to learn programming. Or it can be free. You're an electronics engineer. You're not going to learn C as part of your electronics engineering course? I should imagine you'd learn a bit of C. Let me see. Load character animation, enemy data. How long would I show a hit stun for? Hey, Mabdo. Whoops. Hello chat. Bad Beast. You got a new gaming PC and you want to learn game development. Where do you start? You could just pick up Game Maker if you're very new to programming, or if you want to learn a bit more, you could pick up Godot. They just had a really big update. There's a lot of free guides and tutorials online you could use to get into it. It should be quite accessible. to learners. Your college is focusing on PCB design, hardware placement and stuff, not for software. That's fair. I'd just be very surprised if you don't touch C at all. I have a lot of colleagues who did electronics engineering, and they all got at least like a module on C. If not, I mean, it sounds like you're in like the STEM mindset. You can probably just pick it up on your free time. Like as I said, you could try and look for a book or a course or something, or do like some free online course to learn software if you want. I'm sure you can manage. If you're able to understand electronics, I don't think it's much of a job to do software. It's all algorithmic. Embedded C, yeah, I'd be surprised if you don't touch it. Can you do horror game? I mean, the game's a little spooky, but it's not really a horror game. Hello, Ellie. Hello, Floab. Nice to see you. When did you change your name from Meep Moop again? Because those neurons got strengthened a while ago. Thanks for permanently taking up a spot at the back of my brain with your name changing. Anyway, entity with health. Let's do that back. You do it in your free time. This is terrible because you can't read programs. I mean, this is not a typical program. That you're looking at like a specialized piece of software. This is a game that I've made. This is not going to be similar to how your supermarket's app is built, or how Facebook's front page is ran, or how the firmware on this keyboard is looking. Software is just a tool, huh? You can do all sorts with it. So not being able to read this is fine, but I think if you were to have a look at a line, you could piece it together with a bit of basic knowledge. You know, we're looping over something here, we're checking something here, doing another loop, we're checking something, checking, doing, you know, it's all you can break everything down, right? Just because you might not understand certain syntax, like why we're using templates for certain things, or what on earth a ref is, you know, that can all be learned. Enemies now deal damage. Enemies could always deal damage. I just have God mode on all the time because doing testing when you take damage is a pain in the ass. Yeah, software. Remember, like the Turing machine, right? Like, if you are able to move something on a tape, check something there, write something there, read something there, whatever, move up and then halt at some point, then you can do any program on that whatsoever. Like the computing, it can be very basic. You just read data, write data, move the point that you're reading or writing, and eventually stop, hopefully. I don't know if halting is required. I think so. It's been 7 years since you changed. You're the only person who remembers it. Thanks. Aye. Alright. It's not been 7 years. I think like it's been more like 10. How are you doing? Wetter Bird was a good name change though. It's a good name. I keep thinking this is going to turn into Lavender Town. I mean, this might just work. Let's see. In what year was the Turing test passed? I'm pretty sure there was like a chatbot in the fucking 90s that could break the Turing test. Hang on, actually. Where's my phone? Oh, I don't have my phone on me. Oh, I had a picture. I went to the Computer Games Museum in Berlin on the weekend. In Germany, obviously. And they had a copy of one of those really old chatbots running on a computer, and you could talk to it. Did I post a screenshot of that? I did. If you go on Discord and look on off topic, you can scroll up a bit. You can see me typing on like a terminal with green text and a black window. Like some German guy wrote some swear words, and then I wrote, my favorite streamer is Northern Lion, he is bald, and the chatbot responded. I'm pretty sure that's one of those really old ones. What have I done? I exported this stuff, right? Experiment 2, experiment 1, save. Integer division by 0. What am I doing? Frame count is larger than 1. Oh, I guess it's because there's only one frame. Oh, that should be... yeah, I've never had a single frame animation so far. That's funny. Animation time. Hang on, I should let this crash. I want to read what animation time is. 0.01, yeah, okay, fine. So, loop animation frame index equals blah 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 blah. Get frame. If sequence dot frame count is equal to 1, return frames. Frame index, I guess. Which is 0. Yeah. Easy game, huh? Hey, Mystic. Why are you still angry at me? Frame count is 0. Okay, that's not quite right. Frame count is 0. Why would that be? Hang on. I'm guessing I'm drawing the enemy, right? Wait, hang on a moment. This is crashing immediately on launch, right? Assert sequence.frame count is larger than 0. Hang on, this assert isn't going off. I'm in debug mode, right? Hang on. That's really weird. So we're in here, it's crashed. Sequence frame count is 0. But we're asserting here that it's larger than 0. The assert is just not working. Is VS Code too slow for debugging? It's fine. How... Why isn't this assert going off? I'm in debug. Not larger than or equal to. We're asserting that frame count is larger than 0. This should have frozen here. That's weird. Why is this colored differently as well? That's strange. Is assert... If ndebug define assert... It should work. Okay, that's really odd. Because I'm kind of relying on these asserts. That's the only reason I'm using debug and not rel with debinfo, really. I'll have to check this later. Did I break something in my seatmate? Debug. MSVC, we're on Windows. DN debug. NDE debug. NDE debug. This should work. Okay, well that aside, why do we have 0? That's my next question. If I go to my asset manager while we're just loading everything in, let's read it here and just make sure it's coming in. Do you need to learn coding to make a game? It's a very good idea. There's all sorts of ways, there's all sorts of tools that let you make a game with like drag and drop interfaces. Like Unreal Engine had blueprints. Game Maker has like its own drag and drop interface. I think Scratch is like the one a lot of schools use. But it's not... You can do a lot with a limited tool set, right? Like you could chisel a piece of wood into a lovely sculpture using a butter knife, but really you want to learn how to use a hammer and a chisel properly, right? You could sit there and scratch away with a butter knife for like 6 months, or learn how to use it with a chisel. But so you know, I would learn to program. I think it's fun as well. But if you just want to make something really basic, like if you wanted to make a clone of Frogger, then by all means, if it helps you learn slowly, like at your own pace, it's good. But I would recommend picking up software development myself, as someone who does that. Let's see. Frame rate. Her frame rate is 1. Why is her frame rate 10? That's weird. Alright, it's fine. 1 and 1. Now let me have a look. You're 1 and 1. And if I go to my enemy Jason, I just set this back to 0. Honestly, it could even just be 0. I don't know if 0 means never draw a frame. I feel like it just means don't update the frame. So integer division by 0. Sprite's frame interval. It's first frame plus. So it's going in here. Frame count is 0. We're doing remainder 0. We're doing a frame interval, which is apparently inf. But why on earth is the frame count 0? This is going to take a little thought. GTA is made by a team of thousands of people doing what I'm doing right now, but at a bigger scale, with a lot more money. Let me think what I might be missing here. The sprite literally exists, right? If I have a look in here, we can see our sprite does exist. In our enemy JSON, we've seen that we're loading in frame count of 1. Fine. Loop animation. This is really weird to me, why frame count is coming in here and it's A, this assert isn't working, and B, the frame count is 0. This I need to see why. It looks to me like this says frame count is 1. And indeed, it's just gone fine. Just as expected. Frame count is 4, fine. 4. Wait, why is it not crashing now? Why is everything drawn weirdly? What the fuck? Okay, I can see that. Well, what the fuck happened? Something's really corrupted here. That's really strange. What did I do? I'm guessing frame count then is not doing quite what I want. I'm guessing here the frame index actually needs to be calculated properly, so fine. You just return frames 0, I guess. That's fair. You wish you took IT-related school and college. You can learn programming as an adult. Plenty of people have. But like any skill, you got to keep at it, right? Let's see, return frames, frame index. Here we go. So we're just going to have to calculate the frame index directly instead of doing whatever nonsense I was doing there. Sequence.first frame. So then we just get rid of all of this, I think. Sequence frame count. All this remainder frame count. This should just be 0. I hope. No, you're not expecting a size T, you're expecting frames. Something like this. And you're already a size T. Oh no, you're a unit 32T. Am I allowed to cast you in like this, or do I need to... Let's try this. Integer division by 0. I'm sorry, I'm absolutely flummoxed as to why frame count is 0. What are we animating that has a frame count of 0? When I come up here, frame count 0. First frame 74. Who are you? Position 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. No angle, no origin. I think it's just a blank sequence, right? I might need to modify. Hang on, asset manager. How am I loading in this? So when I'm loading the character animation, we're loading in the idle frame count, run frame count, not play frame rate. Okay, this is weird. And we're loading that in here. Frame count 0. This is odd because I've only just added this stuff now. If I... Let me think. What have I done? Let's... Oh, you're 1 instead of 1.f. That surely isn't it. Play frame rate, you should instead be... run frame rate, I should think. And then in enemy JSON, we've got idle run. Am I passing in the frame rate instead of frame count? No, we checked this stuff earlier. Somewhere we have an empty sequence, I think. Or a sprite that is empty, and I need to work out why. Yeah, okay. Let me just double check I did everything properly in here. Frame rate... I can check this even easier. So you are 1, you're a 1. Hertz frame rate is... just like that. Let me just pop a breakpoint in both these and make sure... I mean, I'm fairly certain these are both in. Lives is 0? What's wrong? Alright, so we get that, and we get that. Okay, fine. I'm really concerned about this assert not being fired. But let's see, maybe we can work out what's being drawn exactly. It's something with a depth of -5. Entity 5 I thought is player. Ah, I know what it is. I know exactly what it is, chat. I'm what you call really stupid. You know what I did? Can you work it out? You see that I've extended the enemies to have 3 of, like, a third animation? Right? Who do you think shares the same animation code as the enemies? That's right, the player. The player doesn't have a hurt sprite. Man, that was silly. I should have noticed that immediately. Anyway, the player just needs to have a I'm hurt sprite. That's all. Super easy. Weird question. Hello. I can trim her hair a little bit to make her fit on the screen a little better. I don't know about you, but I keep having like the Kirby enemies in mind when this happens. Have you played Kirby? Like when you hit the enemies, they get like these wide eyes. Looks funny, doesn't it? It looks like they've taken damage. Very stable. What's up? Oh, it's fucking funny. Oh, fuck. Alright, hang on. Character Jason. You're gonna need a... hurt. One... Oh, frame counts or something like this. How does save files work? What would you want your save file to do? What do you think is valid to keep it saved between runs? Between loads? And what stuff do you think you can just sort of make up? I actually don't know what happens if you load the other characters right now. I'm guessing they'll just fail. Might work. I have no idea. Anyway, asset manager. This stuff. Why are you upside down? That's annoying. You're size T, aren't you? Unsigned. I could, like, maybe assert in here that there's a real value in there. I can at least do this. Apparently this isn't working, so that's already questionable, but moving on. That should work. Alright. Let's see how this looks. Did I just... I guess when you spawn in, you've not been hurt. Oh, that's not working. Why are you looking like that? That's not right. I accidentally changed their run animation to wrong. Hang on. Enemy Jason. Run sprite frame rate. Why is it 1? That's not right. That's not right. Hurt sprite frame rate 0. Oh dear. Enemy Jason. Your run sprite frame rate should be 10, by the way. Luckily, I have hot reloading, so I can simply do this. It didn't quite do what I wanted. I guess you'd have to reload the enemies. Look at that, it's working again. Now, if I spawn a bunch of enemies in, I guess technically when they spawn in, their last time they were hurt is 0. Yeah, look at this. They show this silly sprite for like half a second, and I can obviously adjust it to only be for like, you know, a quarter of a second or whatever, but it clearly works, right? And likewise, if they hit me... Oh. I mean, yeah, you die pretty quick. Hey, look, the particle's still there. That's concerning. That should have disappeared. I guess this particle spawned in like the frame the game ended. That's odd. Probably should write a to-do for that to clear all the particles. Or maybe when you're spawning particles, make sure the game is in play. Known bugs. If particle spawns as game ends, the particle is visible on main menu. And then I'll just write in the description, probably related to the delayed particle spawning. Just make sure game is in play or pause or whatever. Alternatively, when setting, what's the word? Systems to main menu, clear any particles. Yeah, it might still spawn for a second. I'll just say, note, last one would still show the particle for a frame. So first is probably better. Although it does make the game a little slower. Although it is another conditional that to be checked during gameplay. Yeah. Alright. So, let's also add hit stun. That's something I wanted to do. I don't know how well it will work, or if we'll really use much of it. But like, it's something you want to use in games to make them feel impactful. Hang on, let me store this somewhere. Hurt animation time. I don't know. Probably should also just check if time since last further blah 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 blah. If sprite dot animation time is larger than, so I mean if you hurt them within the first half a second of them spawning, I guess it wouldn't show. Don't know the best way to do this right now. Maybe I should have this unset if they haven't taken damage yet. That makes sense. Yeah, I'll make this optional. A hurt animation time, let's just say length. I don't know. Common. And let's say 0.1 or something. And time since last hurt can be an STD optional. Time since last hurt is now... So it's no longer optional. It's 0. So I'll say in culling system when doing this. We can be explicit. We can say has value. I don't know. It's a little easier to read, right? Even if it's not really the typing I'm using elsewhere. I think in this case it could be confusing otherwise. And then in health I can just say if the enemy has health and health dot time since last hurt dot has value. Here we go. And then you know what? I can even extend this. And health time as well. Blah 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 blah. Easy game. That should be it, I think. And then in my render actor system, when I don't know how I'm doing that right now. I guess I'm using invuln time remaining. I'm using this blinking thing, which is fine. I guess it's the same thing. It does also tie it directly to the invuln time. Interesting thought. Do I want the animation to match the invulnerability time? I don't know, because sometimes the invulnerability time could be like a whole second, and having it animate like that for a whole second might look a little sketchy. So maybe having it on a separate system is fine. That looks good, actually. Like on a really short timer, I kind of can you see that on stream? I can make this a little bigger. See how it looks like they're getting stretched for like a second because I'm shooting them. Makes it feel a little bit more impactful. And then if I give myself lots of health and make them shoot me, I guess I can still have God mode and test this out. If I set my respawn iframes to really low, I can basically just get hit constantly. But the reality is, I mean, you'd have some iframes. You'd only actually see this if you just got hit. So actually, I think I quite like this system. Like, it's literally just a brief second. You see like a little animation, like a oops. I think that's pretty good. Is it too short? I don't know. I mean, I could make it longer, I guess, but it looks like just having it on for just a brief moment, I think is okay. Especially with this sort of like fuzzy hair I give you effect. If I pause at the right time, can I ever see it? Oh yeah, look, you can see it here. Doesn't look bad, I think. Pop, 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 pop. There's still no sounds for this stuff. If I disable their guns again. It's nice because you can actually count the amount of times they're taking damage. It's kind of hard to see when it's just the flashing, but when you see the sprite like change like that, it makes it a bit more obvious. I'm thinking maybe I should also I don't know how I feel about the hurt animation on that red one. I was also thinking I could like tint it red, like white for a second, so we can try that. Now what am I doing? I have my animation repository. And then, where was I doing this stuff? It's animation system. So it's like this. And I'll just have this on here and say, all is in hit stun. Is in hit stun, yeah. Is hit stun. Is in hit stun animation time. Is within hit stun time. Hit stun animation time. Whatever. It's a little wordy. But then it means I can extract all of this into here and just have it like that. What's wrong? Can we make const? That's fine. Okay, this should work. I just need to make sure I use that other place. Oh no, this is the only is it? Yes. Culling system shouldn't matter. No. So now I want to look in the render thing here. I can say, so you got a health, okay. If they're in the hit stun, then we do this. Otherwise, we're doing the blinking. So we don't have it blink when they're in the hit stun. We can actually just set the tint color to something mad. Let me see. Tint color. I actually want to set this to full alpha. And I want to set it to like a big number. Is there an example here of a color? So we've got white here. It's 255, 255, 255. So I can set it to maybe... Can I just set it to white times 2? Is that a thing? You can. See if that works. And I want to put this underneath the ignited and stuff, but not under the fades with lifespan thing. Don't know about the rest of this. If they're respawning, we'll make them invisible. What is he making? Have a look in the description, little gaming hut. It should answer your questions. Right now I'm making it so when you hit something, it plays a special 1-frame animation for, you know, a short period of time. And I want to tint it white. I'm not a big fan of this like sprite here, I'll be honest. It looks like they have a toupee on or something. They're meant to look like they have a round head, so maybe even just something like this will do. That might do okay. Cool. Reload assets. Let's see. Alright, white times 2 is okay. It's not like flat white. Let's see if he shoot me. Yeah, you turn like lighter for a frame. Maybe that's okay. I'm kind of abusing the way that this default actor shader is reading this color space by saying, can you draw white times 3? But it does work. That's radius times 3. What did I just do? This isn't it. White times 2. A lot of these songs are pretty similar. I like this. Like, it's a bit easier to see when you've actually hit them, I think. If I spawn a bunch of them. Give myself an SMG. You can actually see, like, in the crowd who's taking damage, right? Why is it compiling so slow? I'm streaming. Also, I just changed... streaming is huge, like a really big impact, by the way. I'm streaming on 2 platforms. So my computer is building a 1080p 60 film for Twitch and YouTube and compressing it and uploading it. But just the compiling in general, some of the files are not as optimally set up as they should be. So this render, well, if I change anything in components or in common, those headers are included in a lot of places. So that requires like 30 seconds of recompiling. But also it's just a little slow. I don't know, there might be some improvements we can do. What I'd really like to know is why my assert from earlier wasn't going off. There you go. Suggestions of what you could try next. Well, if you sound like you're interested in Python, you could try learning and seeing if you can recreate what you got the bot to do. That could be a fun learning experience. That could be fulfilling. Yeah, I like this thing I've just done. So I now want to make it so... let's see what happens when they shoot me. Should look pretty good. Yeah. I want now to make it so when like a big damage gets dealt to the player, it like pauses the game for a split second. I don't know. I thought about this earlier, how I might want to do this. When we pause the game, it's actually swapping in and out the active systems that are being used. And it's just disabling like physics and stuff. I don't see any reason why I couldn't recreate that or reuse that behavior to add in a little hit stun. Oh, I hit F4. Great. Alright. Don't need to do F5. Let's do that. So in my systems manager, we have load play systems. We also have load pause systems. You can see them here. There's a lot less stuff in there. Put them next to each other. I think I basically just need the same sort of thing. Load pause menu. Weird that I don't update the game state to pause. I guess the game state is still during gameplay. Do I not use this? I use... Oh, that's a little weird. Reset menu, pause menu, load pause systems, update game state pause. That's a little weird. That's a pretty weird way to do it. But fine. Is this only done in one place, right? It's done in a couple of places. Oh, I guess when you do the continue, yeah, this is why I did it. When the game is like showing you the continue button, that's the continue screen, which is yeah. It's only got a couple of things going on. It's okay. This makes sense. It's not so weird. Okay, let me think. We need a game state for freeze frame, maybe. But I still have it in the gameplay game state. There's a few places where I'm checking if this is going on, right? So that includes erasing the future. Time since paused. I don't know where that's being used. Oh, it's to stop you from pausing constantly. That's okay. Gameplay. We're only ticking in Systems Manager in level state. Is that being used? I don't really think so. That's kind of like a legacy thing. That's used for like score and stuff. That's not a big deal. Otherwise, these don't massively matter. Oh, it's being used for when we are here. So that's fine. If I go here, we'll have one called freeze frame. So what we will have is somewhere in here we'll have a load freeze frame systems. Oops. And I will set the state to this. Get rid of this. Hello, Bright. Let's see. Whoops. Pop this in the header as well. Okay. This is just rendering systems. I don't think we need the navigation system. That's okay. Is it just rendering? We don't have anything else. We don't have action responder, movement, physics, collision, anything. We're just drawing the screen frozen for a second. Might look a bit weird with screen shake. Who's DMing me? Oh, it's Chris. Let's see, how do I mute this? We were going to play something one of these days with our friends, but we're trying to work out who's around. Hello, Ivan. How are you? Oh, my music ended. Okay, let me find something new. How about... I'm kind of sick of this, like, lo-fi-ish stuff. I'm gonna listen to this one. Banger. Alright, so when we're loading freeze frame systems, that should be pretty cheap and cheerful. I am again a little concerned about how the screen shake stuff's gonna look. We'll see. Somewhere in here we need to keep track of how long we want to be in that freeze frame for. I don't know the best way to do that. I'm guessing just in context I can just have a component. Somewhere in here we were already doing screen shake. Camera shake. So freeze frame could work in a similar way. I was thinking I could make this like abstract and have camera shake and screen shake and freeze frames use the same systems, but I actually think the freeze frame is a lot less. There's a lot less going on. Like I can copy it to start, but we can trim most of it out. So we're gonna have camera. I was thinking I could have like camera effects and stuff. So we don't need any of this randomizing stuff. We don't need cut off, decay multiplier. That's unnecessary. This is all unnecessary. Intensity can just be. We can just have a timer. Freeze timer. Freeze time remaining. And we can just say add freeze frame time. And we can just say added time seconds. Easy game. And then we don't need the rest of this. And really it was just a single, it's just very simple actually. What's wrong? Oh, I'm not doing that. Okay, let me say we want time, float, duration. Easy. How old am I? That's a weird question. How old are you? I'd usually start with, oh, you started with a hello. Maybe a how are you? Or a what are you up to? Or how was your day? Okay, so we've got camera freeze time remaining. Should it be a console command? I'm doing it with screen shake right now. I have a feeling this just exists in the registry, right? I think I just want to do the same thing with camera freeze. And it does just exist in the registry. In context. So we can just do this. Camera freeze is now just sitting in there. So, if I want to add freeze for whatever reason, I can say, well, for example, something like this. Let's see. Health. Collision system. Health. Do I have a player in here? Health dot... I don't do that in collision system now. Oh, maybe it's one of these. Health deal damage. I can put it in deal damage, maybe. Although you don't have access to the registry in here. Oh, you want to be no discard, don't you? Okay. Let's just see why I'm doing this. We're doing it in collision system. You can also just pass the registry into deal damage. That's fine as well. Like deal damage could take an entity and the registry as a reference. Registry dot player on entity. And we're going to add some camera shake. Oh, a camera... What did I call it again? Freeze. And then I just want to add a proportional amount of freeze. I should build first, I guess. What's the scope for this project? That's a broad question. What do you mean? Like, do I plan on working on this for like 2 days or 10 years? Or do I plan on having 1,000 levels or 1? Or is it, what do you mean? Are you not called camera freeze? You are. Hang on a moment. There's something else failing to compile. How low level are you going? Oh, that's what you mean. Hey. Maybe the FAQ helps. But yeah, we're doing a lot manually. That's true. I'm not doing literally everything manually. I'm not writing OpenGL or SDL directly. I'm using a library to wrap around those. I'm just using C++. I'm not using I'm using assembly or anything. But yeah, we're doing the engine and going up. This has been going on since 2020 or so. It's like a 6-year-old project or so. We've just been slowly adding things bit by bit by bit by bit by bit. So the actual gameplay is pretty sparse. Like in a vacuum, it looks fine. If I show you 10 seconds of gameplay, you might think that's cool, but that's the gameplay. But all the things getting together, that's been the time sink, I suppose. You need an entity and a registry, don't you? I'm going to assume you have an entity. Maybe? Maybe your entity in this case. Health in this case is coming from your entity. Yeah. Okay. Same here as well? No, not here. A little unfortunate that we've kind of overcomplicated this deal damage thing, but it is nice to be able to have a little bit more spice in here if we need it. Am I losing my mind? Langdy, do your bloody job. How did you start your journey as a coder? I used to make Game Maker games when I was younger. Long story short, when I was like between the ages of like 8 and 14 or something, I was really into Game Maker. Like very early on, I used to have to stay late after school, and I used to play a lot of Flash games, and I always thought I could do that. And our internet at home was too bad to play computer games, and there's only so many times you can play Wind Waker, so at some point I found Game Maker. My very first experience was actually trying to use Blender, which is insane, because I was single digit, and the laptop absolutely could not fucking run it. So that was... that was long-lived, short-lived. But yeah. Thank you, DHIV. Are you working on your own project? I think, are you not... You're in components. I'm stupid. Camera freeze... Sorry, it's late, I guess. I just need to put you above health. Order of operations, huh? So I completely forgot this thing is in components. Add freeze time, and let's say... if it's a player, let's say if damage is larger than 2, I don't know. Damage is larger than 2 and it's a player, then we are going to say every point of damage we're going to have another 100 milliseconds. Just making that up. So we're going to have a base freeze time, freeze seconds per damage. I don't know. This might end up being like a Desmos curve or something, but just for now, to keep it cheap and cheerful, we'll make it linear. And I'll even just pop it in here. Advanced text for a static float. Let's just say 0.1f. So add freeze time, this, multiplied by damage. So if you do 3 damage, the game would freeze for 300 milliseconds. Let's actually say damage minus 2.f. So it would freeze for 100 milliseconds. Might be okay. Do you mean to... excuse me? Oh. Okay, this might work. What I need to do now is give the enemies... What gun are they using? They're using a revolver. Aren't they? Pretty sure. That thing does a lot of damage, right? That does... 5. So it should freeze the game for like 200 milliseconds. Let's see if it works. It doesn't work. I've not written the stuff to make it work. I'm stupid. Forgive me for just a moment. It's, well, it's compiling. That's nice. What I need to do in Systems Manager is actually check over... Oh, hey, Monas. Thanks for the 46 months.
Cough.
Cough? Coffee. Are you doing alright? This obviously won't do anything yet, you know. When you shoot something, it's not gonna do anything. I need to actually do the work. Let's do... Why am I doing screen shake? Camera shake. Here we go. So, update cameras. When are you being ran? In display. So I think in tick update. It could make it behave weirdly at low frame rates. Update's a little weird place to put it. I'll put it in here for now, I guess. How to become a full stack developer? How to become a good full stack developer? If you're already a full stack developer, I can't help you with that. I'm not. How to become a good one is a hard question. But how do you start? I don't know. I'd apply to the job. I'm not a full stack developer. I'm an embedded developer. Before that was mobile. So mobile's weird because you kind of do full stack, but it's not quite the same as the traditional type. You know, if you were a full stack, you might manage like a Apache server and then also a Java front end. You know, you're still doing Java for everything, but you're doing like server code here and then like, you know, a web app over here, which I haven't done. But on mobile, you can do sort of mobile full stack where you do all the UI and everything lovely, and then also under the hood you're also managing like databases and all the HTTP requests and all that. What does auto mean? Auto means, please compiler, can you work out what type to use here? Basically. That's the shorthand. I'm sure there's a very long explanation, but in this case you can intuit, you can deduce what the type is. In here there's a template, I'm requesting a camera shake. So the compiler knows, it's quite smart, it knows that it's just going to be a camera shake. There's a rule of thumb, it's a little old, but there's a somewhat common rule of thumb, which is almost always use auto, or always use auto, const auto, where a lot of the time in C++ you want to use auto and const auto. You're more of a web developer. I don't know what Mern is. What is Mern? Next.js and Redux. What is Redux as well? I'm guessing Next.js is some JavaScript superset? Like TypeScript? I haven't done that much web stuff, I'll be honest. I learned a little bit for a couple of job interviews a few years ago, but it's all immediately disappeared. That's cool though. How are you finding your job? Web stuff always seemed pretty interesting to me, but I just ended up going into mobile and now I'm embedded. It's just I didn't really pick my career. It ended up this way. If it goes well, you're expected to deliver fast at work because AI. Yeah, buddy. Have you also seen that instead of speeding up your workday, you're just asked to do 10 times the amount of work? The reality is now I'm spending a lot more time in meetings and refinements and stuff. Or fixing some god-awful code that I need to review that someone else has written. Not of. Oh, else. You started writing a music equalizer in Rust. Ooh, like from scratch, not using FFmpeg or anything, just plain old manipulation. That's awesome. Question mark. Made a rule. No AI. All research code. That's awesome. It was tricky at first, but you're getting back into that code by hand zone. How are you doing that? Are you working? I don't do much with audio, by the way, but are you working with like is there a particular format you're working with, like some sort of like WAV by default, or what? Because I mean, an equalizer, you adjust like the. Forgive me for saying this stupidly, but you're changing the intensity of frequencies, right? So if you have a frequency curve like this, you want the low and high to be louder than the middle bit. So I'm guessing you're like passing a bunch of samples and saying which frequency they're at and if they should be increased or decreased with some lovely curves. I don't know. That sounds cool. You're coming from C, and there's so many cool things C++ has, like vectors and auto. Yeah, but I mean, if you're working in C, are you using the heap? Because vectors are exciting if you're able to make use of the heap, but nothing a good old array can't do. A lot of things. I was a little annoyed at work. I found out that C++ only added, what's it called, like named parameterized instantiation in like C++ 20, whatever the word's called. You know when you're this syntax where I'm constructing something and I'm passing in dot lifespan, dot type, dot modifiers, etc. This is a C++ 20 feature, and we're on 17 at work, so we can't use this. And apparently C has had this since like the end of the 90s. Is that true? M is MongoDB. I remember MongoDB. E is Express.js for routing and middleware. R, React.js for front-end. N, Node.js is basically the server. Oh, is Mern like a sort of pattern, like a framework pattern that people use? Like a common grouping? That is. Redux is for caching. That sounds really cool. It reminds me a bit of my mobile stuff. I don't remember all the frameworks and stuff you used. In the end, Google ended up releasing like the Jetpack libraries, which was really nice. What was it, Google? JetBrains, I guess? Android? I think it was Google. It was Android at least released Jetpack, which solved a lot of problems with Android, or at least helped. But there was all sorts of libraries everyone was used to using. There was some really common image library that had like a bird. What was it called? I don't remember. There was all sorts. Something fire as well, some database thing. God, I've immediately lost all that knowledge. I did it for so long. Out one ear. You lose it so fast. There was so many like patterns you had to remember. I remember when I was doing iOS job interviews, you had to remember all the different common architectural patterns, and some of them are so stupid. I'm pretty sure everyone just settled on view model, MVVM, model view model, model view view model. That's it. Model view view model. But like MVVM, yeah. That's good. I like MVVM. Model view controller. MVC was a bit shit because it became massive view controller. Swift was kind of built on it. And a lot of people didn't bother with the middleware, so it was mostly just model. It was mostly just view controller. Mostly just view, sorry. A lot of people just put their like internet code in their view, which was really stupid. You see the UI freeze as it's doing something in the back end. But then I remember a really weird one on iOS called Viper, which is insane. I tried doing a very small project in Viper, and half your time is just spent making files and like extracting single line functions to adhere to the pattern. Utter nonsense. I've not seen it used outside of like one interview, because it's like a sort of niche question to ask people. Viper. Would I consider myself smart or more accumulated knowledge? I think I'm specialized. Like I'm pretty good at a couple of things, but I'm pretty dog shit at quite a lot of things. Like in school, I had really, really middling grades, but then in university, I got like the best degree. But that's because I specifically did computer science. If I'd have done any other degree, I probably would have gotten like a 2-1 or whatever. But like, you know, most of school, I was sort of doing like sort of B's and C's, maybe like an A or something here or there. And then uni, specifically computer science, I got it first. So I think like at this, I think I'm pretty good at learning, but it takes a while. I don't know if I'd consider myself smart. I think it takes me longer than most people, but I've just put a lot of time in. I don't know if that shows, but like I've streamed this whole game development process. If you go and look at the VODs from 6 years ago, you will think I'm a fucking idiot. If you don't already think I'm an idiot, you'll think it's like, how does he put his socks on in the morning? So, you know, time passes, I grew a bigger beard and my glasses changed. You're seeing me now at this age. If you see me, hopefully if you see me in another 6 years, I'll seem like I know more, but it'll be even more niche. I'll probably be talking about some really niche game development thing. You'll ask me about something else and I'll go completely blank. So it's, yeah, so it's accumulated knowledge, and there's a lot I don't know, and there's a lot I get wrong, but I'd like to think I have a habit of at least trying to learn when I've gotten something wrong, so hopefully I get things wrong once. Hopefully is doing a lot of work there, because I make a lot of repeated mistakes. I'm really shit at maths, actually, which is not good for game dev. You'll be jacked 40-year-old. Thanks, buddy, I hope so. What was my best experience in uni? I remember once I drank a whole, like, 2-liter bottle of vodka with, like, a lot of people. Just went around sharing it with everyone in Freshers Week. Someone gave it to me. It was it called Snow Queen or something? It was very expensive. They just gave it to me and they were like, vodka. How much is that? It's £32, 32 euros, 50 euros. It's not expensive at all. But when I was a student, I was buying like 10 quid booze, so this seemed expensive at the time. I remember it tasting pretty good. That was a decade ago, I guess. Made a lot of friends. Haven't spoken to any of them since. Oh, sorry. Starting with FFmpeg, you'll replace that module later on. Lots of maths there. Oh yeah, I wouldn't even know where to start. You're working with FLAC right now. We'll make it generic. Fair dues. Variant and visit look more preferable than if statements. Where are you looking? FFmpeg. Hell yeah, buddy. Back up swimming. Variant and visit look more preferable than if statements. I use variants. Variants have some like dog shit syntax though. I know they're trying to fix it in C++ 26, 23, I don't know. A little more wide than 5 years ago. It's because I go to the gym now. I've got these big muscles, which are not so big right now because I've not been going much this month. Also, the camera is different. Like, this is a camera. I used to use a webcam, and the angle is different. Yeah. Carrying crates of bottled water with ease now. I'm definitely stronger and fitter than I was. That's true. We went to, I said earlier, we went to Berlin over the weekend and we were doing like between 15 and 25,000 steps a day, which for me is a lot. But, well, you know, we didn't have any problem. No problem. We climbed Mount Fuji a few years ago, and that was even before we went to the gym, and that was doable. A little difficult. Probably the hardest thing I've done. Sorry, hello, Pointer. I've gotten completely distracted from what I was doing. This is how this stuff takes so long, by the way. It's because I fucking yap. Anytime I do something off stream, I'll still do like an 8-hour workday on this stuff, but I'll get so much shit done. But I consider moving to Rust, not for this. I've done Rust for a bit, like a little bit. There's a project called Embassy, which claims to do asynchronous, heapless, embedded stuff. Because I think it compiles down to a big state machine, so it's a little weird. But anyway, I did a little bit in Rust. It's really tricky, I'll be honest. It's a bit beyond me right now. I'll move if my work wants me to, but for now it's C++. So yeah. People die on Mount Fuji. Oh yeah, I mean, I had a few. I don't want to say close calls, but you know, health problems on it. I started getting a really bad headache around the one of the earlier stations, the one that sells ramen, and there's like a little rubber duck on a bench. And I was complaining about a headache, and this lovely American woman came over and gave me some like cracked American like painkillers, and I felt amazing. What were they? They're like pretty normal painkillers in the US, but they're quite strong for Europe. What are they? They're the ones that are they blood thinners? Aspirin? No. Was it something stronger than aspirin? I don't remember. But they gave me like some mad fucking painkillers, and that helped going up a mountain. And then at the very top, you wake up really early to climb to the very peak of Mount Fuji. The last bit is a bit of a scramble up volcanic rock. You're going in a big line of people with like a headlamp on. And there were a couple of times where my head was about this close to like volcanic rock, and if I'd have just been unlucky and put all my weight into it, I could have cracked my head pretty hard on a rock, and what is it, 3,500 feet or whatever, that wouldn't have been good. Going down sucked, by the way. Going up is hard, but going down sucks. Mount Fuji is covered in fucking sand. If you want to go down, your whole way down is just sliding down sand. Your foot goes like half a foot into the ground, and it hurts. It's tiny rocks. It gets everywhere. You run out of money to buy water, and then you get on the fucking bus to try and get back. The very bottom. It's like the last bus. your card doesn't work, and like you try like 4 cards and finally one of them works. Oh, stressful. Visa pay. Pyramine. How's Japan? Japan's banging, dude. We're going back later this year for the fucking 4th visit. It's insane. You had a mountaineering documentary watching phase through 4 or 5 years ago. Oh yeah. I mean, Mount Fuji's meant to be like a beginner's mountain, but you can definitely be unprepared. They're trying to ban bullet climbing, where people try and go up and down in a day. And like when we were there, we saw some like sort of good, you know, strong lads booking it up the mountain, and you're not really meant to do that anymore. What would you recommend your younger self to do differently if you could? Quit drinking sooner. I haven't quit, but I just don't drink nearly as much as I used to. I used to drink pretty much every day. Not good for you. So I would have told him, don't drink as much. It's not good for you. Go to the gym sooner, maybe. I think I'd be bigger if I started going to the gym when I was like 20. How can you learn game development? Start making a game. What Game Boy game do you like? Go make like Battleships or Tetris or Chess or Pac-Man or Space Invaders or Asteroids. Just make that. I'm pretty sure there's a GitHub repo somewhere with an example of like 30 really simple games you can make. Just give it a Google. Your best experience is doing something. I'd recommend that. Don't try and come up with a unique game unless you really want to. Starting with a clone is really easy because it takes out a lot of thought process. You don't have to think, how should it be? Because you look at Pac-Man, you know what Pac-Man's meant to do. You just code it. You don't have to think about which direction he moves in, or what happens when you hit what key. How many ghosts are there? What does the maze look like? Just try and clone it. Sorry, again, I'm distracted. Camera shake. Here we go. Look, we got camera shake. We're in update. Camera shake. If camera, blah 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 blah. If camera shake dot count dot not camera shake, sorry, camera freeze. Camera freeze. Camera freeze. Camera freeze. If camera freeze dot count dot freeze time remaining dot countdown loop. Countdown loop? Just countdown. Countdown. Subtract time and check if it's... How does this work again? Return true if it's reached below or equal to, or false. So we're going to pass in delta time, which is frame info dot delta time. So if we are still frozen and our game state, so I'm just going to store this, const auto game state. What's this? Make you a ref, why not? So countdown and game state is isn't freeze. Sorry, I just need to get some work done quickly, and then I'll read chat again. Load freeze frame systems. Let's see. What I can actually do is extract this in here in its own little statement like this. Just to make sure it's not constantly loading the systems. I don't know if there's a big issue with that, but why do something many times when do it once? One conditional is surely less expensive than this heap stuff. So if it's equal to 0 and we are in freeze frame time, then set load gameplay systems. Load play systems? Weird. Alright, this might work now. You're stupid. Right, we got freeze frame. If we are in the middle of a freeze frame and we're not in that state, then loads the freeze frame systems. Otherwise, if there is 0 time left on the freeze frame, then go from freeze frame to play if necessary. And then specifically this, not checking if it's not equal to gameplay, because otherwise pause wouldn't work. Alright, hello. It broke. You don't have to make many games. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you make as many as you find interesting, huh? What have I done? I've deleted a semicolon somewhere. That's concerning. Why have I done that? Hello. Have a look in the description, Mad. Thank you, I think you. Have a nice sleep. Okay, let me just quickly check this. We're in Systems Manager. What did I delete? So this is the same. We added an extra... This is odd. Am I stupid? Hang on a hot minute. I have a feeling there used to be another bracket here. See, I like that. In the past, this blue one... Oh, this isn't really showing me the history then, is it? I'm guessing that this came to here, so I just need to add another bracket like that. That might just be it. Alright, I mean, nothing's breaking yet. Let's see if the enemy will shoot me. Go on. Do it. I guess it only works if I take damage, huh? Let me see. This thing, are you being ran? No. Okay. Let me think. In our components, when we're dealing damage, let's just check in here. So we're doing add freeze time. Can I have a look in here? We have added minus 1.5 seconds. Because damage is negative. Okay. Oh, okay, fine. Stupid. Hello, push toy. Stupid. I was adding negative freeze time, if you're wondering. So I was not doing anything. Who's paying you, Brad? I can pay you even better. I'll give you €0. I'm guessing Roblox has cost you a lot of money. I don't know. I've never played Roblox. I felt like it came out of nowhere, but it seemed like an old game when it came out. Like, is it actually a game from, like, 2006 and it became popular with, like, Gen Alpha? Or is it, like, a new game and it just has that, like, feeling? Okay, let's see. Enemy. Give me your gun. Shoot me. So we're adding minus... Am I... Sorry, why are you still negative? Oh, if I... Sorry, I forgot my bid mass. I'm stupid. So if damage is larger than 2... This should work. Given you've been working on this for like 6 years, does the Q&A not distract you? It does, yes. Would you rather work on this off stream? It's a pick and mix. Like, I do some work off stream. A lot of the like art and stuff I do this off stream just because I need time to like relax and think. Like this I did off stream. I do like a lot of concept work. I've got like I haven't looked at this in a while, but like, you know, all this like planning and stuff I've got in these fucking books, like where I'm writing down shit. This is all off stream and stuff. So when I really need to think, like at some point I've done like some really big refactors and like some really just big tasks that require me to focus without context switching. That stuff I do off. But indeed, like it's not a high priority thing. I am enjoying the process. It's like it's really quite fun to stream. Obviously we get a lot of trash. You get people coming in who just want to type things. They like hearing their own voice. But it's quite fun to make something cool and then see that people also think it's cool, if that makes sense. Like when I made the this explosion do a big screen shake, and I thought, man, that looks cool. There were like a bunch of people in chat also saying, oh yeah, that looks cool. And I liked that. I thought that was like a fun little thing. It makes it feel like every little thing I do is is just like a bit more of an achievement than otherwise it would be. Like I'm not just ticking off checkboxes, but I'm also entertaining and sharing stuff. Hi KML. You were thinking about coding while streaming. You did stream a couple of days ago, but it was weird. You were conscious that people would find you or your style stupid. People will. Have you looked at the comments coming from YouTube on the other side? This person said, "Can I be owner? I'll make you dev." The next guy says, "Can you use Roblox Studio?" The next guy says, "Why didn't you use Rust, C++, you'll shoot yourself." There's people like this who watch. They either come in, comment, and immediately leave, or they don't know how to talk to people, so they have to shitpost first, and then maybe they're normal once you get like a conversation with them. But I think it's fine if people think your code is stupid. My code can be pretty stupid. I think it's fun to share and see different styles. I've had people coming in being like, I can't read this, and I've also had some people coming in when I've explained it. They're like, oh, it's actually a little easier than I thought. It's kind of nice how you've laid this out. Less people do that. I'm a little sad about that. I do try my best to keep things. I prefer simple, readable, easily maintainable code to like super complex shorthand stuff. I would rather something ran slightly slower but was like a million times easier to understand, you know? So I use a lot of like stupidly long variable names, and some of the functions I use are perhaps not as efficient as they could be, but I know that it's going to be a million times easier for me to reread this in a year and still know what it does. But I also learn a lot. Like I have plenty of people that come into chat and especially with the maths, that was a double bullet. Especially with the maths stuff, when I'm struggling with something, they'll explain it to me, and that's really valuable. I don't know how much you need that because you're saying that you're doing your own research, that it runs counter to that. But for me, I would much prefer to talk with chat and have them explain to me why I'm using, or why I should use power 2 in this particular curve, than to just read that off Google. It makes it a little less lonely. Mean. Okay, Mel. Hello, Zeldosha. There's the chat will love him no matter what. What the heck? You think so, Monas? Oh, it's my freeze frame. It's working. Should be working like this, but it is frozen. Why is it doing that? Let me see. So in Systems Manager, here, this isn't being ran, huh? If next systems isn't empty. Yeah, this is a stupid place to put it. Hang on. This shouldn't be in here. This should be out here. My bad. Interesting as well, I think this is missing something to draw. I think render gameplay background system must have something here that's like gameplay. What is it? Is it not gameplay background? Somewhere we're checking the game state. This one, if it's not main menu, this one, if it isn't equal to pause. That's not it. Okay, well, anyway, let's just see what this does. Rust devs. Are there a lot of Rust devs? It's a very loud language, but I don't know a lot of people that use it, other than, like, you know, they've tried it a little bit at work. It's an interesting language. I think it's very cool. It's just that the fact that you'd have to kind of relearn how to architect programs makes it tricky to just pick up. And obviously, if you just disable all the the compiler warnings, there's what's the point of using Rust, right? You should be making use of that stuff. Hey, look. Okay, it didn't quite work. I think it was doing infinite damage to the player, and now they disappeared. But proof of concept, the game did do something when I got shot. I think it shows the pause screen for a split second, which isn't quite right. Also, somehow... Actually, I think they are doing the correct amount of gun damage. Nice. They'll continue to grow. That's good. And I think it's good that we have more options as programmers. Because remember, like, you know, if Rust has a particularly good feature, there's a good chance that they might try and adopt it downstream in some of these older languages. Plenty of features we get nowadays in C++ are modern features that other languages have introduced and done good work with that C++ devs wrote themselves, and then someone added it to Boost, and then they were like, let's add it to the standard library. Not all. I mean, the standard template library is meant to be like a limited set of things, but the language does grow. The language does grow. Thank you, Jam. Chill. Hello, Rana. What am I doing? Oh. Game state gameplay. Gameplay, blah, 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 blah. This is not quite correct. It's not equal to pause. Then join the main menu. Game state main menu. Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you, DHRuv_1001 for the 3 months. Thank you. Chat, I'm so sorry. My birth year starts with a 1. I don't know what Roblox Studio is. Is that a horse girl dancing? I think it's Oren from Toho Project. So she's a cat. I've been streaming for a long time. I'm pretty sure I set these GIFs in like 2014 or something. I am an uncle. I have multiple nephews. I pay taxes. I cook lasagnas and eat them throughout the week. I enjoy baking. I was born in the 1900s. Yeah. When I was younger, the TV made a weird noise if you put your head kind of near it. And it went when you popped against it. Do I have free will? No. Just when it's paused. Now why are you working? You're an update if it just press pause. That's actually fine, I think. Is level state ticks actually being used for something? Didn't think so. Hang on. Freeze frame systems might be missing more than expected. Let's see. Action responder we don't need. Linear movement we don't need. Movement. Restricted movement. Enemy collision system. Weapon offset system. Stage system? I'm pretty sure this is old nonsense. Yeah, get out of here, stage system. You're not needed. upsetting. Culling system, render actor. Render actor, render gameplay, render HUD. Oh, it's the wrong way around. Wait, render main menu gameplay background. Yeah, you don't need you. That's fine. Okay, this might work. But in render HUD system, why? Next system's not clear. Then what am I doing in next systems? I could extract this to a console command actually. Let's see. Current systems. If it's gameplay, erase. System.onStop. Am I using this anywhere? I don't think I am. I wrote on stop, but I bloody didn't use it. What about on start? Unstart is maybe being used. Initialize. Not really being used at all, damn. Did I live in the floppy disk era? No. No, I didn't. When were floppy disks fucking popular? That was before me. I mean, I've used floppy disks. That's because I went to an English fucking school. That shit's old. I think they're updating those systems. When were floppy disks like discontinued? I feel like this was like 80s technology, but maybe they were still being used into like the mid-90s. When did floppy disks stop being used? Could you still use them as like retro media? Early to mid-2000s? I mean, I saw them around, but I don't know. History of the floppy disk. Ask Europe. When was the last time you used one? Yesterday. Okay, that's not very helpful. Early 2000s? Yeah, actually, it makes sense. Whatever. I mean, I bet half of Japan's medical infrastructure runs on floppy disks, so they're still relevant, I guess. Alright, enemy, shoot me. Do it. I should give myself more health. Shit, hang on. Fuck. Vocal fry, vocal fry, vocal fry. This looks kind of sick. It's a lot of damage. Like, the freeze frames are a bit long, mind you, but it does clearly seem to work. But then when you die, it gets like extra fucked up. That I need to fix, because normally you die, you're in gameplay systems. So I should also just make sure that the thing isn't dead. There's no point doing freeze frames when you die, is there? But that looks kind of okay. Like as like a, like it works. You can still move the screen around, of course. How old am I? I'm 28. I'm not that old. I'm not. Not that anyone at work seems to think I'm 28. Oh shit! It phrases for so long if you hit yourself with an explosion. You're planning to make an asset system, just loading them on background threads, but you're unsure how to do it. Well, I'm not doing async. The only thing asynchronous in my project is level generation. You're unsure how to do it properly. I mean, mine is not probably a good example, but I can certainly show you. My asset manager is pretty messy, so don't use this as an example. But I also have a data section. So in this data file, I have all sorts of things which I load in JSON, or are relevant for loading sprites. You know, it'll be information about the width and height and frame rate and whatnot. So I have data separated from Asset Manager. My Asset Manager has a bunch of functions for loading stuff from files. And then it's also storing basically everything as member variables, including file system and fonts and anything like this. And if you wanted to do this asynchronously, if your language, I don't remember what language you're using, but you know, this could be a future, this could be a lazy var, this could be a what's another word for one of those? You know, this could be a await, to be awaited on thing, or it could just be an optional. But yeah, when you reload all your assets, because I do have hot reloading, it just sequentially loads everything. It takes literally a millisecond to load all this stuff off disk. So I don't bother. I do it once at game launch, and then anytime you press the button in the dev menu. So this obviously doesn't happen during gameplay, but it is instant. It's not loading a lot, you know, a couple of bitmaps or PNGs. PNG isn't a bitmap, right? I mean, a bitmap is a BMP, but like a bitmap is just an image where every pixel is defined by its, like in bytes in like a really obvious way. Is that not how PNG is stored? Does PNG have a bunch of metadata? It must, right? PNG feels complicated, but it's got no compression. Or limited compression. It might have some, you know, it might block out massive row of zeros as 0 plus the number of or whatever. But yeah, I mean, this is just loading a bunch of stuff and then, you know, loading, and it's pretty basic stuff. PNG has compression, it has no loss. That's a good way to put it then. Because my assumption would be I don't know how PNG is doing its compression, but like if you have a blank image that is 256 by 256 and it's just got one color, white, then I would probably, you could write a really basic compression algorithm to just say white times 256 times row height or whatever. Zero loss, because the data is exactly the same in the end, but still compressed because now you're only storing a couple of bytes. That's my guess. Is that true? It's Druv. The source code's not public, no. I mean, you can read it on stream, but in like a limited window. It's not open source. Obviously, you could literally go through every stream and stitch it together. One of the downsides of just streaming this stuff, but I have a feeling that most people would rather not do that. I don't know what's worth stealing. I feel like a lot of you could do a lot of this stuff better if you wrote it yourself. Let's say that. And I'm the one who does the idea things, and you can't steal the ideas from me because they're from me. They're in here. 9 times out of 10, you don't need acid streaming. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily bother. You have a single music of 3 mins is the promise 30 megs at startup. You plan on loading multiple to block the starting time. I don't know, like modern SSDs can do like gigabytes per second, I thought. You can... having it as a feature is perfectly fine, but also profiling the impact in like a worst case scenario is worth doing. Like if you try and load 10 gigs of data and you see it lagging, then that's fair. But if your game only has, or your program is only going to load 500 megs of something, you profile it in a release build and it loads within a microsecond, then it's not worth the effort probably. But also I think data streaming could be fun, but it does add a lot of challenges, right? Anything asynchronous does, it complicates things. In another 2 years, you'll have a 2 in your age. Damn. Imagine being that old. How long have I been doing content creation? I mean, I uploaded stuff to YouTube in like 2009, but my active channel, I've been doing stuff since like 2013. Why would you be loading music multiple times? I do wonder. Like, I mean, obviously a lot of games have loading bars at the very start of the game to load everything into RAM. Well, what you can. With music, how much of that is going to be done on disk and constantly streamed? Multiple music for multiple zones or levels. I would check the startup time. Like if it's really slow, then it's totally worth thinking about. But you could also do a very like tentative approach, and like I don't know how you're loading this stuff, but if your game is somehow separated into zones in some way, shape, or form, and each of these is like a zone with its own unique music. The approach to just load everything at game start is just to do this all at once and just tank the like half a second lag. But if you were to load each room as you go into it, you'd have like a very micro stutter as it loads the next area's songs. So I'm guessing that you'd load the stuff for your current area and then also the surrounding spaces. That's what Breath of the Wild does. I don't know about music, but it does that with like area, like the map. Like Breath of the Wild loads the map in stages like this. It's like a moving window. So as you move around, it loads the areas that you could potentially traverse to. But in terms of streaming, like you could totally just have it so your current area is loaded synchronously with a micro stutter or whatever, or just loaded it before you load in the area, because there will inevitably be, you know, this is the first room. You can load that, I'm sure, in a neat way. But you could asynchronously load these into somewhere neat and tidy. I don't know what language you're using, but you know, some kind of future or an optional. And then as you traverse, if there's a value there, then great. You just move on and you start asynchronously loading these. You unload stuff you don't need anymore. You could make it even like a little just a nice array. I don't know if all your music is of similar size, but heap allocation's expensive. Maybe doing it 3 times isn't so bad, I guess, but depends how you're storing this music. Constantly, you know, adding and moving around a couple of megabytes isn't actually that bad. You're wondering because there is this whole stuff with background thread and your frame rate staying smooth as a result of that. It really depends on what language you're using as well. Some of them are much more suited to asynchronous work. If you're working with like Swift and Kotlin, then asynchronous work is pretty much a first-class citizen. So it's like pretty trivial to do this stuff. You're using C. I wouldn't bother. Were we talking about C earlier, actually? Maybe we were, sorry. I don't know how C works with futures. Do you have, is it just future? C future. C language. Programming language future. It's just people talking about the future. Async. I can't help. I'm afraid I can't give you advice. The ability to asynchronously load stuff is sick as hell. What I do with my level generator, you'll see that my level generator is just a big class that does a bunch of stuff and eventually stores it in this map object, right? And eventually generate level returns somewhere. When I want to start generating a new level, game start, I place into this, into my context, which is basically just you can treat it like a static struct somewhere. I have a future that I'm awaiting on, and the C++ standard library has this async function, I guess, or is this there's a function. However this shit works, which is pretty trivial to use. I basically just await on a lambda and it's nice and easy. But C, I thought, you don't have lambdas, right? You have function pointers and all sorts of special maths, or not maths, but like not actually that different really, having a function pointer to having a lambda in this case. But libuv, that's what someone on that Reddit post mentioned, was libuv. I went through your YouTube, you had motion hell. What are you talking about? I had motion. Good dancers. This is trivial anyway, is what I'm saying. Like, this is a fully synchronous thing. This could be loading something off disk. And I'm awaiting it in here, and then somewhere else. You know, I'm checking if it exists. If so, awesome. You know, we're waiting on something. We can draw the loading screen. 1 million views. Yeah, my biggest video is 1 million views. Every tick I'm awaiting in my systems manager on that, if it exists. And the moment it's ready, then I'm back into synchronous code again. So this is trivial. I don't know what the C equivalent's like with your libuv language, but just having a system of like a rolling window over your level where you are asynchronously loading in potential tracks you might need, popping them in there. As long as you can be sure that they will load before a player can get there, I think it's perfectly fine. It's a problem in Breath of the Wild with the map, because with glitches, you can move faster than the level loads, and Nintendo's solution was just to pause your movement while it loads the next chunk. Music should be a lot more lightweight than millions of polygons, so I can't imagine that would be a problem. Unless your areas are like this big and the player can move like this in a tick, that would be bizarre. I think it's a fine idea. Why did you drop gaming style videos? I do them sometimes. It's a hobby. This is a hobby. Pausing to load especially as like a backup. Like if you need the music to be there for some reason, then actually pausing to wait as like a last second solution. I just do YouTube and Twitch as a hobby. I don't need to I don't have real goals with it. The current track. Oh, sorry, user. I was listening to Zelda Temples. Earlier I don't know what I was listening to. I wasn't paying attention. PNG is compressed. PNG takes pixel data into one big line, cuts the lines according to similarity or repeating patterns, and compresses the repeating patterns. Dimensions, row on length, repeating byte string. Okay, so if you had like a bunch of black lines in a PNG, it would compress that data down into like to a small amount. Because I know a tiny PNG can do a pretty good job of further compressing the data, but it's still a PNG. So whatever they do, I guess, is just neater than like, I guess whatever program I'm using to generate those PNGs, Windows snapshot tool or whatever. No, you don't really need Lambda, but it's probably not that hard to implement in a similar way with a callback with a func pointer. Additions, keywords with async and stuff in C++ are wrappers around OS functions, so you can do it. You could do anything. When I originally thought about having to do future and async stuff in C++, I thought it was going to be really manual. I thought I was going to have to define like thread pools and like look for someone to pick up a task, decide how long to spin up the thread for, reuse threads, and then all that. This one function doing everything for me is fucking insane. I didn't realize the language could do this. It's a little wordy, but it's not too bad. Pretty normal syntax. Not the same as Swift. Swift, you just write await. Beautiful language. But I think under the hood, this is doing some pretty complicated stuff, especially this STD launch async. This launcher is the heavy lifter, I think. Whatever is involved with this async and deferred launch style is doing some funky shit. TinyPNG uses a more involved pattern. Yeah, probably. Pattern searching algorithm. I expect so. But it's interesting because it still compiles, or it still outputs a valid PNG. I guess it is just looking for patterns that you can combine, and PNG's language internally is I guess, flexible. On SDL3. SDL3 is new. This program is old. But, that being said, the LibDonut that I'm using as a wrapper around SDL, the version 3 that isn't out yet will use SDL3. But it won't really make a difference for me, because the game is 3D, but it's not. Like, a few weeks ago we did refactor things to actually be 3D, which is how I can get away with some of these interesting shaders. But it's very subtle, and it's 3D in the sense that things have a Z. Very, very, very basic stuff. But theoretically, I could have stuff like jump above and over and stuff. Oh, man, this freeze frames are fucking bonkers. Alright, we need to fix some stuff then. So, in my culling... components. Let's change the freeze seconds per damage to, like, way less. And maybe cap it as well. Add freeze frame time. Let's just say... Advanced auto freeze time is this. And we'll just say... STD min freeze time. Is it min or max? I guess I could do max between... No, I want min. Yeah, min between freeze time, and let's just say there's a max freeze time. Max freeze frame seconds can be... Let's say it never freezes for more than like a second or something. I think that works, right? So if freeze time is less than that, then we use this. Otherwise, we use that. Easy gamer. Launch might be launching thread from the thread pool internally or else. Yeah, I'm pretty happy I didn't have to worry about that. I'm pretty sure even in Java you might have had to... Did you have to think about it? If you wanted an optimal program, I thought you did. That was a long time ago. Android used to be a lot more on hands about that as well. Android's weird. Alright, we've got this, but also when the player dies, it's causing a problem. So we need to make sure that we don't do all this if current health is under 0. So I'm just going to say if current health is larger than 0, there you go. Just don't freeze it if you die. Solves the problem. Yeah, the pausing thing was about Breath of the Wild. If you watch speedruns of Breath of the Wild, you'll see a really common glitch. Or at least you used to. It's been a few years. But you get an ice arrow, and you like jump and use your shield, and you like shoot an enemy with the ice arrow as you hit them with your shield or something, and it launches Link at like 1 trillion miles an hour. Which would be really cool, because then you use the like glider to zoom somewhere. But the game wasn't expecting you to move that fast, and it's a Switch, so it can't load the map fast enough. So the game literally pauses for like a second as you're going forwards, like it's oh, that was weird. It pauses like it's buffering. Why did I spawn loads of enemies in there? Like, I don't know if the freeze frames are kind of annoying, but it does make it feel more impactful, you know? I don't know what I should do with the HUD when you die. Because, yeah, I mean, your health and XP is 0. It's weird that I don't show, like, the mini-map, but it makes sense. There's no player. I guess I could modify these things to work without it. That's funny. So, if in my weapon, and I go to my revolver, if I make this do 45 damage, but give myself... Well, actually, if you just shoot me... I forgot to reload my assets. Hang on. Reload assets. It should do a ton of damage. Game should only pause for like a second, though. You're not going to shoot me? Oh, he is. Hang on. If I give myself way more fucking ice iframes. Loads of iframes. Maybe if you're about to die, I do the freeze frames for like even longer. Like maybe that is okay. Because it's showing like you're about to you just died, right? Could do that. Something like that. Slow-mo death. Yeah. But then the problem is something weird happens. Because the freeze only happens like the next update cycle. At this point, we're already iterating through all sorts of nonsense. So it seemed to me that the... Let's actually see what was happening. It looked like something was bugging out. The game slowed down bullet time when aiming with the bow, and physics interactions get multiplied like 20x with the slowed game for some reason, so getting bounced off sent an enemy flying. The ice arrow is only needed for big enemies to get ragdolled. Oh, the ice arrow was just to make them do more damage, or something. It's awesome. Some weird Nintendo stuff. Oh yeah, I forgot. I made it so the particle you hit a wall with is based on the damage. So because the revolver is now doing 50 damage a shot, it's like doing mad screen shake. Isn't that sick? I think that's sick. Give myself lots of health. Turn off gun mode. Give the enemy a gun. Yeah, so something weird happens there. What is it? Normally in culling system. I think it's because I'm setting the health to zero to like low. You know? Something's going on. There's like stuff that's happening between the freeze frame. Really, this should be instant, but I think what's happening is the player is immediately getting culled. So maybe what I need to do is have a separate system for killing the player that does it after the freeze time is finished. Is that smart? I mean, having a different system to kill the player kind of makes sense, but currently it's just using the same shit that every other enemy is using. In culling system, if health is less than... If lives is less than 0, health is less than 1... I just cap it at 1 now. That's weird. I guess that makes sense. I don't want you being alive on 0 health after all. Health at lives is less than 1. Particle destroy. Let me just destroy it. I don't know where I'm doing it. Lay execute. Respawning. Where am I? Ah, here we go. So in here, this is for the player. If the player is... Here we go. This is the player destruction code. I need to change this. I think just putting it in delayed execute might even fix the job. So we destroy the player and all that. I don't even know if I want that. I might put all of this in the delayed execute. Let's see what happens. The idea is delayed execute gets delayed until the next update cycle, which should be after we do all that. I'd have to see. Let's see what problems this causes, huh? I just... Bonk. You could do it without ice for generic enemies, but the different color ones don't ragdoll if you just land on them. Oh. Okay, this is a little jank. And I expect there may be problems. Some of you may die, but something risk I'm willing to take. Freeze. Okay, this might work. In fact, maybe I'll move this stuff up. So it happens even faster. Oh. How about loading 2 seconds of all audio? This will always remain in memory. Play the zone audio whenever they enter the zone and then load the remaining zone in chunks with 5-second buffers. That's kind of like how YouTube does stuff in buffers, right? It doesn't load the whole video at once. It used to, I think a long time ago. It loaded a lot of it. There were ways to make it load the whole video. But you can, yeah, just buffer like a few seconds at a time, I guess. Yeah, maybe just preloading the first area and then maybe preloading the first area and anywhere nearby and then background loading everything further away. And if you somehow teleport to a location, let's say, where the music hasn't loaded yet, you just pause. You cancel the asynchronous task somehow and you just load it manually, or you just discard the result. Alright, enemy. You're welcome to shoot me. Interesting, it still pauses even if I'm in God mode. That probably shouldn't be the case. Access read violation. Exciting. I'm guessing, yeah, like, how about this? If registry dot valid entity return or continue, I guess, because I think it's cycled again technically. The Rust guy was right. The Rust guy was right. Sure about that. Access read violation. Hang on a hot minute. Oh, I probably also want to do this in here. Oh, I'm dumb. Entities to destroy doesn't exist in this delayed execute lambda. I shouldn't be passing that in. Any behavior.target. Okay. Let's try this. How are you verifying the lifetime of entities? I'm using a library called ENTT, which I'm learning as time goes on is missing a few really handy features, which I wish it had. We found out recently that the ENTT library does not assert on get if a component does not exist on an entity, or if an entity is invalid. Well, yeah, well, it's at least the entity is invalid part. Registry.get returns a reference. If you have an invalid entity and it's performing a bunch of functions using that entity to retrieve a component, it still returns a reference. But you can't have null references. So it just gives you garbage. No, it's not good, and I don't know why. Donut yesterday or the other day checked, and apparently it's like one of the only places in the library where they don't have these asserts. Bonkers, IMO. And yeah, there's just a few spaces where there's a few more checks would have been nice. Destroy also doesn't check if something's valid, so when I destroy something I have to manually check if it's valid first, which is weird. Interesting. This delayed execute is not quite doing what I wanted. Yeah, this isn't quite working. Why isn't this working? Could maybe just have like a game end console command that gets executed. Maybe. What are the capabilities of your debug engine in terms of game state, not the memory stuff? Like, are you storing the events happening in the game that can be played later? I'm doing nothing special. I've written no fancy debugging tools or logging or dumps or any of that. Which is sometimes problematic. I'm kind of just raw dogging VS Code. Oh, okay. Give me a mo. I don't think we have milk, by the way. I need to stop. By the way, I just realized it's midnight. I'm being told it's my bedtime. Send console message. Okay. Send console message obviously won't work here because we're no longer in. Okay, this won't work because we are no longer in. We are probably out of scope. Send console message in this case is a whole fucking thing. Probably could be done differently. Dense map, there's all sorts of shit. Registries being passed in as a reference. I mean, I guess I could maybe do this. I need to stop. I can't be spending too long on this. I just wanted to just try one little thing. This is bad. Like, whatever approach I've done here is not it's not correct. I'm being bubbed. She wants a hot chocolate, but we don't have any milk. Dearest Christina. Shoot me. Well, the game certainly didn't go to continue properly. Like, it pauses successfully for a second. I wanted to draw the player sprite, so I just need to change the order that I'm destroying stuff in. I need it to not nullify the entity yet. So this needs to be special. Write something special for game over. Could even just spawn a new entity called dead player or something. I don't know. Or destroy it afterwards, who knows. Anyway, I'm gonna head off. I hope you guys liked the stream today. I'll probably be back tomorrow, Friday. We were hoping to play RV There yet again. I think we will play it. We played it a few weeks ago. It was really fun. We got into like a cave somewhere. So we'll play that. I've not been playing a lot of games recently. The player shouldn't be destroyed as an entity. I disagree. I could, because I like it when you can destroy the player as the entity. I think having the player as like a static object, it makes some things easier and some things more difficult. I think being able to just delete and destroy and fuck around with the player, spawn a second one, spawn a fourth one, destroy them all, I think that's really valuable to have. So I would like my systems at least to work with that. I like, it's the same problem I've been struggling with since I started in like 2007 or whatever, 2006, 2005, whenever Game Maker 7 was a thing, Game Maker 6. Do you destroy the player? When you destroy the player, a bunch of stuff breaks, like the camera, blah 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 blah. I like it. Maybe not instantly when they're down. That's what I'm thinking. I could just delay it. That's kind of what I wanted to do here. Delayed execute just basically, well, delays the execution of whatever Lambda you're putting in here until the next update. But yeah. I'm going to stop for now. I hope you guys like the stream. I'll see you tomorrow, but I'll be there yet, and we'll do more programming as well in the future. Feel free to chat on Discord and stuff if you want. It's decently active these days, actually. And YouTube as well. Look in the comments. But yeah, good night. Bye-bye. See ya.